So today I started off with a while just exploring generally until I settled in on this area. And you've seen me quite a few times do explorations where I use rotations of the head and the neck as a way to connect down into what's going on in my body emotionally. But today something happened that I'd never experienced before. I got really interested in this spot on my neck, my larynx, my voice box. And here I'm actually rotating but leading the motion from my throat, from my voice box, rather than from my head, which is something I've never done before. And gradually slowing down from the larger body movements into slower movements with less force, higher awareness. Now settle down into exploring emotional content, rotating around the voice box, emotional content related to speech or speaking out. Looking now for barriers or twists, emotional reasons for preventing myself from speaking. Now I've explored the whole range of motion, coming back to the one that was most interesting. Right here. And when I press against that barrier, it lights up my coccyx, my tailbone, and the connection of the tailbone to the sacrum. So whatever this is about brings up fear, survival fear. So I would think this is something that relates to when I was very young, having spoken up in a way that elicited a reaction from an adult that seemed like survival related to me. And for a kid, loss of love from a parent or anger from a parent seems survival related. And at this point, kind of vague feeling memories of my mum were in my awareness. So I guess this barrier must be something related to a time when I spoke out or said something when I was young that got a reaction from my mother that was scary for me. Exploring now with flexion extension, which would bring in more of the survival or protection related things, connecting down through my chest bone and my heart. Just staying here, feeling actually quite intense fear in my tailbone and my sacrum. You can't see it, but it feels like my hairs are standing on end on my arms here. It's quite an intense experience of fear that I'm connecting to and releasing. Just hanging out with the fear, allowing it to gradually dissipate. Definitely connected through to my heart, and I'm giving myself some comfort, some connection with my hand on my heart there, supporting the release of this fear. And I'm right on a balance point here where the fear would have me contract to protect, the opening would have me expand or flex my heart forwards and upwards, and I'm right on that balance point between the two, which is a really useful point for healing. Not protected, not open, but open to both possibilities. And now really subtly exploring rotation of my tailbone against my sacrum, it's a movement that's physically almost impossible to do. We have very little mobility there, but I'm using movements of my hips to do that, and it's probably at least as much or more an energetic or rotational intention to kind of turn my tail, finding and releasing the emotional content, the fear stored in my tailbone and its connection to my sacrum. Deeply immersed in the feeling now. And you see my breathing has changed, it's gotten deeper. No longer fear, but more curiosity and experience. And now, having been on that balance point long enough, my unconscious muscle arrangements through my spine are no longer sure what arrangement to take. So at a very unconscious level, the muscular arrangement of the spine is reevaluating, and you can see there's that kind of wobbly motion. I'm moving from certainty that I had to stay protected or I must stay protected to now uncertainty. Do I open? Do I protect? Is it safe? Is it not safe? And this is a beautiful place because it's not at all mentally driven. Quivers like that are completely subconsciously driven, re-evaluating protection or safety versus opening and connection. Really beautiful place here of way below subconscious awareness, rearranging my spine and the muscles around each of the vertebrae, right from my tailbone all the way up from my head, but especially tailbone to sacrum. Some of the lower back muscles, vertebra, and some of the vertebrae around the heart as well. Opening up now more around the heart. More freedom, more fluidity. So whatever the event was that I was processing here, it's way below conscious awareness. I don't remember what it is. I don't remember what happened. I don't know. And I never will. It really doesn't matter. But what I do know is I've released some fear about speaking out. And probably a fear about speaking out, particularly in relationship to women, or to women perhaps. That is going to reduce my fear in general, give me more freedom of speech. As you can see from all these quivering motions, give me, once all of these changes have integrated, give me more fluidity of movement, more creativity, more self-expression. There are about a dozen muscles that connect each vertebra one to the next. And we really I don't know anybody who has conscious control of all 12 of those muscles. But here, as I said, at a subconscious level, the way those muscles coordinate, integrate, work with each other is changing in my spine. And here you'll see a posture. This is almost identical to the posture from my exploration a couple of days ago. So it's actually a continuing or deepening or complement to the work I was doing a couple of days ago. So very similar, but now adding freedom of speech. Subtle as it was, that kind of deep change at the core of the spine is kind of exhausting.